Good afternoon, everybody. I can see you quietly joining from all points across the southwest, Wales, and maybe beyond, who knows? Welcome, welcome. I'll just wait a minute for everybody to join. Welcome to our Wednesday, Webinar Wednesday. Looking out the window, it's a bit miserable, not so special. So what better than having holidays to look at, talk about, and look forward to? This afternoon's session is a cracker because we're joined by a man who knows his travel and his destinations inside out, back to front and sideways, which I think you'll probably see by the end of the presentation. Kirker offer a massive range, and Hisham's even surprised me with some of the things he's going to talk through in his presentation today, of offering exactly what it says on the slide you can see for the discerning traveller. That is exactly what they do. They've done that for Miles Morgan travel customers for the past 15 years, really, and done a brilliant job of it. And because of that, we've seen customers come back and book and book and book as a result. And so if you're somebody that hasn't used their services before, I really hope you enjoy the presentation. And certainly, I think what you'll take from it is the sheer knowledge and depth of how they go into everything is second to none, really, with pretty much every single supplier we work with. They are brilliant. I will always say this, and I always do for those that join these webinars, is the session is run not for me or for Hisham, it's run for you. So if you have any questions at all, please tap the screen. There's a chat facility, type the question in, and at the end of the session, I will pick up anything with Hisham and ask him any questions that you might want, either on the things he said or equally on the things he doesn't say. If there's anything you want answered and he hasn't mentioned it, then please ask away. But without further ado, I'll pass you over to Hisham from Kirker Holidays. Hisham, over to you.
Thank you very much, Miles. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you very much to everyone for joining us. Miles, we're very grateful for all the support that we get from Miles Morgan, and you guys are definitely the best out there. So thank you very much for the support you give us. So today I'm just going to start telling you a little bit about what we do. For those of you who've traveled with us, I hope that I can give you some new ideas. For those who haven't traveled with us, I hope that we can entice you to talk to your favorite Miles Morgan branch, and hopefully we can get you on a Kirker holiday soon. We have been traveling all the way through the pandemic, just to let you know, to make sure that every destination that opened up, we were one of the first people there to make sure that we knew what was going on and what was needed for any of you who wanted to travel. So a little bit about Kirker Holidays, and then I'll dive straight into some of the things that I'd like to talk about today. As I said, you know, expert knowledge, and Miles has alluded to that, and we work very closely with all the Miles Morgan branches. So whichever is your favorite branch, please do pop in, see your favorite Miles Morgan consultant, and they will be very happy to talk to you about any of the holidays we're discussing today. I just wanted to talk about some of the things that we do, just to give you a taste of the services. So private transfers are included in everything we do. Now, everybody says that, and everybody has a private transfer, but it's how we do it, and the people that pick you up and look after you. You know, it's not just good enough to have a private transfer. It's also very important that the person that picks you up is presentable and can communicate in the language that you speak, and that's what we do. Added value, we believe that most of our clients who travel are going to a destination because they want to scratch onto the surface of the destination, and we include some of the must-sees in these destinations. So for example, museum entrance tickets to, for example, the Doge's Palace in Venice, in Florence, the Uffizi, in Rome, maybe the Vatican, will always be included in the pack. And these will not just be included on the basis that here you go and queue up. No, they are all also pre-booked before you go, so you don't have to queue up. You just pass the queues. Tourist passes are included in the destinations that you can see: Lisbon, Paris, Bruges. Again, these get you into museums. They get you on the trams for free. Just trying to facilitate to make sure that your journey across these destinations is made very, very easy and seamless. Guided walking tours in some of the destinations that you will travel to on certain days of the week. We run the private Kirker tours. These are group tours where you pay a very small minimal fee to join a group. But to be honest, 90% of all we do, people get their own private walking tours. So it's for you and your loved ones when you travel. But again, guide notes, and I will talk about the guide notes in a minute. These are our own guide notes. We don't actually give you the big 400-page guide notes. We have our own guide notes which tell you in 20-25 pages what to do, what to see, where to go, and so forth. We also have a concierge in-house, and this guy is available to you once you book your holiday with a Miles Morgan branch, and he will recommend restaurants and pre-book tables free of charge to make sure that when you go to these destinations, you're not basically running around trying to find a decent restaurant. We already have a lot that we've tried and tested. Private tours, as I said, most of the clients that go away with us, they will want a private walking tour, a private panoramic tour of a destination, and we will organize for that tour guide to come and meet you the next morning, sit down with you for about 10 minutes in the hotel and establish what it is that you like and don't like, so that when they do take you around, you get to see the things that you are interested in. The concierge will also book your opera tickets, ballet, Formula One, whatever it is that you're interested in that destination. He will get those tickets for you before you go. This is just a sample of the Kirker pack. We are very old school in terms we still have papers, itineraries. These are our guide notes I told you about. They're very small, 20 pages. They tell you all that you need to know about the destination, what to see, what not to see, and where to eat, where to drink, and what museums to see. Also, just a little thing. So, for example, in Paris, we'll put 3 postcards in the wallet, and on the back of the postcard, there'll be a stamp. So when you are sitting in a cafe wanting to send a postcard to your loved one, all you've got to do is write it, pop it in the post box, and it'll be with them the next day. You don't have to go and buy a stamp. You don't have to queue up to find what the rules and regulations are. It's all done for you. Again, maps. Again, we love giving you maps so you can know where you are and how to move around these cities. Visas are included. We can organize cookery courses. If you are on one of the cruise holidays that Miles Morgan offers, then we are very happy to plan a pre or a post cruise holiday, and we can drop you off at the cruise, do a holiday, drop you off at the cruise, or pick you up from a cruise and then do a holiday and then fly you home. And again, we use a lot of the luxury trains, whether it's the Orient Express, the Blue Train, Rovers, Maharaja, you name it, we use them. Anyway, I'm going to talk about a few destinations today, and I want to start off with the UK, because we have all been traveling in the past 2 years within the UK, because it's been a lot easier than going abroad. Now, I'm going to talk about a few lifetime experiences. The Royal Scotsman, which travels across Scotland. It's got a lot of different itineraries. They all start off in Edinburgh, and you can do 1 night, you can do 2, 3, or 4 night trips. It's a full board, so you have your breakfasts on board, you have your lunches on board, and you have your dinners on board. But the idea is that they take you to a lot of castles, lochs. They take you onto the Isle of Skye on some of the itineraries. You go to some of the best whiskey houses, and they do a lot of botanical garden visits and so forth. So the trip isn't just about sitting on a train and seeing the amazing scenery of Scotland, but it's also about really digging under the surface of the destination and experiencing what those routes offer you. And don't forget that on board you have the most amazing culinary service. You know, you will eat some of the most amazing food, and everything that they source is from that part of the world. So you are eating fresh, and you are eating something that is, you know, very close to their heart in that part of the world. Of course, no trip to Scotland is worthy without a visit to Edinburgh. Edinburgh's got a lot. In fact, I was there 2 weeks ago, and I managed to enjoy some of the things that Edinburgh has to offer. Culturally, Edinburgh is far richer culturally than Glasgow, and it's only fitting that that's where the Royal Scotsman starts its journey. You know, stay a few nights, maybe at the beginning or at the end, and we can organize a lot of different things that you can do while you are in Edinburgh, whether it's museums, whether it's you're into whiskey, whatever it is you're into, please talk to us and we can help you with that. Again, close to home, Jersey. Jersey was a great success last year and the year before, because again, we were allowed to travel there with very little paperwork. And it's definitely brought the Channel Islands to the forefront. You know, it's always been here, but we've never really spent any time going and visiting. They're blessed with amazing beaches if you are going there in the summer. If you are into food, seafood, this is the seafood heaven of the British Isles, if you like. And you can definitely we can definitely organize a lot of tours, whether it's into the World War II history, whether you're into the museums, whether you want to go and see some of the private homes over there, botanical gardens, flora and fauna. We can organize even walks through trails. There's a lot you can do in Jersey. I mean, one of our favorite hotels there is the Longville Manor in Jersey, which grows its own vegetables. They make their own cheese. It's a Raleigh Chateau property, very historical, only about 5 minutes drive from the center. But again, as I said, there is so much to do in the Channel Islands, and a lot of people bypass it and go further afield. But you know, it's not that far away. You can either go, we can fly you there, or we can get a ferry across if you want to explore while you're out there, whichever way you want, we can help you. The same with Guernsey. Again, loads to do in Guernsey in the same fashion. You know, whether you are into the sea, whether you are into the history, there is a lot to do. And we've had loads of people stay, whether weekends or a full week or two, depending on whether they just want to get there and relax. And as I said, in the summer, you've got the most spectacular beaches in the Channel Islands. This is another property. It's called the Old Government House. And again, very close to the well, it is in the capital. And you can stroll down to the center within 2 minutes walk. And it's got a lot on offer. I also wanted to talk about something different, cruising. People talk about cruising and they always think that cruising has to be 700 people, 3,000 people. Well, there's a different kind of cruising. We've been working with these people for a long time. They're called barges. They're floating villas, as you can see up there. They're luxury barges, and you can see from the pictures, you know, it's very luxurious inside. And the bedrooms, when you look from the outside, it doesn't look anything like what you see from the inside. And we've got quite a few itineraries. These barges are very different sizes. You've got some things from 3 cabins, 4, 6, 8 cabins. Each barge is manned by a crew of 6. You've got your captain, who basically also takes you on half-day trips, and he's your guide. He or she is your guide and driver. And once you pay for the trip, you don't have to pay anything extra. Everything they do daily, and wherever they take you, whatever you eat or drink, they'll pay for it. So that's your captain. Then you've got your chef. Your chef is almost a Michelin star chef. And everything that chef cooks is from that region. Wherever you're going, they buy everything from the markets. So actually, if you are on one of these trips and in the morning you want to go with the chef to the market to buy the produce that he or she is going to make for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, they will take you with them. So it's very much a slow process. You go out to these areas. They cruise at 5 kilometers an hour. They've got bicycles on board, so that if you get bored when you're on board and you want to go off into a little village, they will put a bicycle on and they'll say, look, this is the route, take that, go in there, and then we'll pick you up at that lock. Very, very easy and very, very laid back. Fantastic trip. So it doesn't have to be very big. It doesn't have to be a big cruise. They can be very small. And then you've got 3 crew members who just look after you, serve you, clean after you, and so forth. One of the things that I would say about these barges is that before you go, maybe starve yourself, because after day 3, you'll be turning food and drink away because it's too much. But fantastic experience. And you can do it in Surrey, where the journey starts off from Eton and goes on all the way to Henley-on-Thames. As I said, it's a 6-nighter, and it will stop in different locations, and they'll take you off to do daily activities, to see castles, homesteads. They'll take you to places, workshops where they're doing glass blowing, whatever historically you have in these different towns, they'll take you off there to have a look and spend half a day there, and the other half a day you spend cruising on the water. And these are some of the locations they'll take you to: Hampton Court, Downton Abbey, and so forth. These are your half-day trips when you're on these barges. I wanted to give you a taste, because it's easy for me to talk about what a Kirker experience looks like, but I thought I'll just give you a taster of a trip that you will do with us to Venice. There you go. The transfers you saw on the private boats, this is the way you would travel with Kirker. If you travel away with us, once you arrive into Venice, people will pick you up from the arrivals hall, and they'll take you straight into a private boat, and you'll zoom off straight to your hotel. I also wanted to talk about other once in a lifetime experience, and the Orient Express is one of them. I will just start off before I talk about the Orient Express. Please remember that the Orient Express for 2022 is sold out. If you are willing to go on any date available, then please let your favorite consultant in Miles Morgan know, and we will keep a lookout. If somebody cancels, we will then contact you and let you know. But please, if you are interested, then 2023 is the time you should be looking at the moment to get an exact date that you'd like to travel. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Orient Express, which is a once in a lifetime experience. It's incredible. It's one of these journeys where you're going back in time. It's going back to the 1930s, the way the bourgeois used to travel, and you still travel in that way. The cabin is maximized. You've got bunk beds. You've got how they use the facilities of the sinks and the towels and the soaps. You're on it for 36 hours. You hop on in London, in Victoria, and then you cross the channel, and then you are on your way all the way to Venice. So you leave at 11 in the morning, you arrive the next day at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and vice versa. When you do leave from Venice, you leave in the morning, and then you come back into London at about 6 o'clock in the evening. So it's 36 hours for most of the journeys, unless you do the ones that go to Istanbul, which is a 6-day journey. That's very different. As you can see, everything is still kept as it used to be. Dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner is on board. You will be amazed what they can really cook in the small kitchens that they have. You will see them at every stop, whether it's lunch or dinner, you'll see them stopping and picking up all the fresh ingredients so they can cook your meal. And what you eat on board, they never say it's a Michelin star, but I have to be honest. I've eaten in some amazing restaurants, and what I've always eaten on board this train is incredible. Your steward will, on arrival, the steward will take you around your cabin, show you how everything works. He or she will always be there to look after you. And the scenery, I've been on this train many a time for work purposes, and every time I go on board, I take over 700 pictures. It's the same thing, but you just can't help yourself. It's just incredible to see the scenery. And the bar is open. You go in for a cocktail in the evening, and the bar is open till the last person leaves. So, if you really want to enjoy the facilities in the evening, then do so. You have to dress up. Everybody dresses up. If you don't, you'll be the only one not dressed up. The ladies go back in time and put their outfits on. In fact, one of the Miles Morgan ladies in Wales, Margaret, was on one of the trips with me, and she came with her feathers, and she said to me, "Do you think I'm really getting overdressed?" And I said, "Margaret, you'll be amazed how many people really dress up for it." And she was really surprised by how people went out and bought outfits just to come on this train. So if you need more information, speak to the Miles Morgan consultants, and they'll help you. please be aware you are going to need their expertise, because this is not a train like any other. As you can see, some of these cabins, you know, if you're not mobile, you might need their advice on maybe what they need. What you need is 2 cabins with an interconnecting door, and so that nobody has to climb up at night to go to bed up there when it's going at 80 miles an hour. So please speak to the consultants, because they'll be the people to put you in the right direction or point you in the right direction. Some of the journeys they do, of course, London, Venice is the most popular. Verona, they go to Vienna, they go to Budapest, they go to Prague, and this year they are doing some other itineraries, and for next year as well. So speak to the consultants in Miles Morgan, and they'll be very happy to point you in the right direction. As I said, they are all very 1930s, but in the past 4 years, what they have done is they've taken 2 carriages out that normally have 9 cabins, and put in they've put in 3 grand suites. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a taster of what the grand suites look like. There you go. That's a bit of a taste of the Orient Express. I want to also talk about Spain and Portugal. Spain, of course, is one of the destinations that was the first to open up to us, going without any requirements in terms of PCRs and so forth. All they needed us to do recently in the past 3 months is just to fill their form and be fully vaccinated. And I want to talk about some of the train journeys that you can do in Spain. And as you can see, you know, rail is very important in Spain. You've got the AVE rail, which does these amazing routes. This is the 2nd best rail system in the world. And so if you are looking to combine a few destinations, so for example, 3 weeks ago, I flew into Madrid. I did a few days there. Then I took the train down to Cordoba in Andalusia. I did a stop there for 4 hours. I went to the Mezquita. And then from there, I went on to Seville, few days there, and then took the train down to Malaga, and then flew home from Malaga. Easily done. It's the same with Portugal. You can actually go into Porto, do a few nights there, and then take the train to Lisbon. And from Lisbon, you can fly home. So very easy. But I wanted to talk about some of the luxury trains that we have there. A bit different from the Orient Express that you just saw, in the sense that the Orient Express is very 1930s, and they've kept all of that, even the facilities. You know, you still have to have shared facilities if you're not in the grand suites. While with this train, it's the same trains that the Orient Express are using. They've only modernized them, because on these ones, you're not only on it for 36 hours, you're on it for 6 nights. And you've got the northern ones that go from here to Santiago and vice versa. You go from Santiago back to Bilbao. And there's the La Robola, which does a three-night journey this way. So, you know, a few different things that you can do. And I'm going to give you a bit of a taste. Of course, you fly into Bilbao. You can stay in one of our favorite hotels there, and you can go on to San Sebastian if you want. Or maybe we can organize a multi-center where you can go to the Rioja region and stay one of the most amazing properties there. The Marqués de Riscal is a very old winery that was designed by Franco Gehry into a hotel, and you can do a 2-3 nighter there, and you know, have a spa, maybe do a bit of wine tasting around the region, and then go back and take the train. So these are the 2 trains. You've got one in the south, which is the Al Andaluz, which goes on from Seville, and 6 nights later it comes back to Seville. or you've got the El Transcantabrico, which I just spoke about. These trains, what they do is you sleep on board, but they are not moving at night. They stop, they're stagnant at night, and you don't have to, you have a very good night's sleep, and you've got proper beds on them. And in the day, they take you to different cities, and they take you out to go and see all the highlights of those cities. And then they take you to a local restaurant where you eat. So again, you pay once and everything is done for you for the 6 nights you're on board. I'm going to give you a bit of a taster again of what this train looks like. So this is the El Transcantabrico in the north. There you go, another experience that we can help you with. And I just wanted to highlight some of the wonderful hotels we have in the cities. I mean, they're not all 5-star. We've got 3-star, 4-star. These are some of my favorite 4 stars in Lisbon, right in the heart of the city center. They've got a pool, they've got rooftop viewing points. They are wonderful. This hotel in particular, I love this because this used to be the reception used to be a pharmacy in the old days, and you can still see how they where they used to store all the herbs and the medicines and so forth. So they've kept all the heritage of these hotels, and that's why they're called the heritage hotels. This is another property just about 200 yards up the road, again full of history, and each the lounge areas, you've got about 5 different areas all designed differently, so you don't have to sit in one big hall. You've got all these little lovely rooms where you can sit and enjoy, and as I said, rooftop bar, and again you've got the lounge bar as well. Lovely properties. I wanted to talk about France. Again, France is an easy one for us all to get to, whether we fly, whether we train, or whether we ferry it, and we can get you there whichever way you'd like to. Just as I said, always talk to the Miles Morgan consultant who will help you. Again, the barges that we talked about in Surrey and Scotland and Ireland. In fact, a lot of people know about them because Rick Stein did quite a few programs on these barges. And so the programs he did were in the Canal de Midi. And I'm going to show you a little bit of what the ones on the continent look like. So let's start off here. This is just a piece of what you can do.
Unforgettable.
The whole trip is luxurious.
Very peaceful and relaxing.
It's the best way of seeing France.
Very, very special.
It was a beautiful barge, spacious, tasteful.
It's a relaxation supreme.
Everything on board is perfect.
You felt like you were really in an expensive restaurant.
Yeah.
Your wine glass never goes dry.
Oh, wines. Oh. Mm. You have planned events, and it just keeps you entertained the entire time. Instead of 250 people on board, we have 8.
8 very pampered people.
Everyone should do this at least once in their life.
And it's something that you wouldn't get anyplace else.
So again, something a bit different from the norm. We're moving on to Switzerland now, the land of rail journeys and different experiences. Whether you want to go and see the cities, whether you want to go up the mountains, summer or winter, or whether you want to do some of these amazing journeys. The Glacier Express is one of them, the Gotthard, top of Europe, and you can go, instead of driving, you don't have to go and spend nights on these trains. These trains are a day trip taking you from one city to another, whether it's from St. Moritz to Zermatt or from Wengen on to Montreux. We can get you on any of these trains, and you can do a multi-center around Switzerland. Again, I'm going to show you a video, which is the easiest way to really get a taste for what you will see. It's all about the spectacular with the Glacier Express, and here's a little bit of a taster. Yeah, so I'm going to move on to something that we do a bit differently. So we have a small program of over 49 tours, and these are around the UK and, of course, further afield. And some of the subjects that we cover: architecture, themes are music. When I say music, I mean classical music, operatic, food and wine, arts, botanical gardens, and historical tours. And we don't, as I said, we don't just go abroad. We do a lot in the UK. Scotland, we have tours to Scotland, doing the Highlands and the islands. And we also go on to Devon and Dorset and, Chester and Northumberland, other areas. The themes are very different. We have tours to Kent, wine tours to Kent around the vineyards, and we have a lot of concerts as well. So if you are interested, again, just pick up one of the brochures from one of your Miles Morgan stores and speak to your favorite consultant, and they'll help you. These are the 6 wine tours we have this year. We have the vineyards of Sussex, Alsace, Rioja, Douro, and then we have Kent, and we also have the Champagne tour. So the Kent and the Champagne tour we did last year, and we could have sold them over 3 times. We weren't sure whether people were going to be keen to go around the UK or to the Champagne region, but as I said, they were extremely busy, and we've put them on again for this year. The rest of Europe, if you are interested again in doing something a bit different, whether it's Austria, Switzerland, Hungary, Czech Republic, Germany, whatever you have an interest in, please speak to your Miles Morgan favorite person, and they will come back to you after speaking to us with an idea of what we would recommend. So just because we haven't talked about it today doesn't mean that we can't help you. And as you can see, traveling by rail around Europe is so easy. You can fly into Berlin, and then, after a week or 2, you can fly out of Geneva. We can do a lot of different countries, cities, countryside locations, seaside, vineyards around Switzerland, and then you can fly home from another destination. So it's easily done. To finish off, I just wanted to talk about some of the places that people have sort of forgotten. Athens. People say, "Oh, I want to go to the islands, but I'm not going to Athens." Well, as historical significance, Athens has got a lot, and I'm not even going to mention what you're looking at because you already know it. We've all learnt about this through history, through school, and we seem to forget it. But it's got a lot on offer, and you can go on to see places like the Corinthian Canal, which is a masterpiece in navigation and how they managed to cut through to make sure these cruise ships didn't have to go all the way around. And then you can go on to Nephelion, which is essentially a Venetian settlement in that part of the world. And this part of the world is all about, fruit, vegetables, and history. There's so much to do and see. And Athens isn't just a three-nighter. You can do so much more. You can go and do Athens, and then you can go on and see a lot of other different areas. But again, speak to your colleague, to our colleagues at Miles Morgan, and they'll help you. And I'm going to finish off with Cappadocia. And you can see with Cappadocia here, you can go to Istanbul, and from there we can fly you over there, and you can go to the land of the fairy chimneys, and we can, get you a few tours. I remember one of the best experiences I ever had was arriving into Cappadocia at night, and then going straight to my hotel, staying in a cave hotel, and waking up the next morning. And I opened my curtains and I saw over 60 hot air balloons taking off as the sun was rising. And that was the most magical thing I've ever seen. And we can organize all of these things for you, as I said. These are some of the cave hotels. They're all built inside the hills, and very luxurious. And we can organize all sorts, or whether it's a jeep tour, whether it's going to meet some of these people that still live in these little caves. We can help you organize a fantastic itinerary. And this is it for me. So I'm going to be in the hands of Mr. Morgan again. And any questions, please fire away. I hope that's enough to whet your appetite.
Thank you, Hisham. Fantastic. I think, an awful lot of breadth there in terms of what Kirker offer, particularly around, because I think certainly for the Miles Morgan staff, Kirker are very much known for cities and what they do for cities. But as you can see from what Hisham said, the cruises that they offer, the rail experiences that they offer are very extensive. I guess when it comes particularly to the Mediterranean and Europe, is there anywhere that you don't offer, Hisham, or can you offer your services across pretty much everywhere?
Well, we do offer our services pretty much around the whole of Europe, especially when it comes to the cultural aspect of it. We are always available to help. The reality is we can't put every single thing that we do in the brochure, otherwise the brochure will be this big. And so we have to be, common sense has to be used here. We want to do X, Y, and Z, and can you do X, Y, and Z for us? Of course we can. The reality is if there's a will, there's a way. And that's what we love working with Miles Morgan for. The guys in Miles Morgan are always keen to make sure that the client has an amazing experience, and that can only be done when you've got the can-do attitude. So we mirror that. That's why there's a great relationship.
And if I said to you, what do you think is going to be hot in 2022 in terms of where people are traveling with Kirker, where would you pinpoint?
To be honest, Miles, at the moment, one of the things that we are seeing is that people haven't been able to celebrate special occasions for over 2 years. And so those special once in a lifetime, the ones I've spoken about earlier, most of them, the challenge we have is everybody wants to do it. And a lot of people are saying, look, money is not an object. We need to go because we haven't done it for 2 years. The problem you and I have now is we have a lot of people who have moved on their bookings from 2 years ago. They didn't cancel, they didn't take a voucher. They said, can we move it? So the challenge for 2022 is that these people are already booked on, which means availability is very, well, if I'm really honest, as I said with the Orient Express, there's no availability whatsoever. So you've got that challenge. The other challenge you have is flights. We all know capacity from airports is very low. So we can get people there as long as they're willing to take advice from us. on how to get there. And the reality is sometimes you can't fly from Bristol because there is no availability flying out of Bristol, but we can fly you from another airport. And so there's a lot available out there, but we have to be creative. I think that creative is the word I would use going forward.
And what do you think, though? Do you think it's going to be old favourites like the Parises and the Venices, or new cutting edge things that people don't know about?
No, I think there's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of that, but I think because of what's happened in the past 2 years, people are going back to their old favorites that they trust and love. And if anything, we've all grown to appreciate what we haven't had for 2 years. So I'll give you an example. We put in a hotel of the month to the Pavillon de la Reine in Paris last month. I've never seen so many bookings to Paris. It's almost like people have been reminded of what we've not had, and we are seeing people want to go to the old favorites. Venice is up, Paris is up, but I think it's the old favorites. The old favorites are definitely where people feel more comfortable going.
Please do ask away if you've got a question for Hisham. You're very well traveled, so I've got to try and nail you down on this one. So I'm going to give you two options, and you can only answer one for each of those because I know what you like. One destination that you think people on the Zoom should definitely go to. And secondly, and I know you're big on this one particularly, is one experience that people should also do.
Well,
can be in a different destination.
Yeah, destination that has definitely opened my eyes. And there's two reasons for that. One is before the pandemic, the biggest challenge we had from people, our favorite clients who go year in, year out, have said, look, I don't want to go to these destinations because of over tourism. Over tourism was the biggest issue. And you can automatically pinpoint one of the destinations, Venice. Venice, you go there, cruise ships arrive, it's madness, getting around, a lot of tourism. Well, the pandemic took care of that. There's no over tourism. So for me, I went there in September 2020, when the whole of St. Mark's Square only had 20 people in it. And we went there and we did some filming to show people what was going on. And it has actually made me fall in love with Venice again. And I would say Venice is definitely right now, if you haven't traveled, go to Venice now, because in a couple of years, we'll probably be going back to the old ways. So if you want to see Venice in its glory, now is the time to go, because it's an incredible city when it's not being overrun by tourism. So that's one question answered. If there's another, well, I will tell you right now, I am taking my other half on a surprise birthday to Florence next weekend. And I have booked a full day walking tour. There is nothing that substitutes organizing a private tour where the guide meets you in the morning at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, whatever time you organize it for. They meet you in the lobby, you sit down there and you tell them what you love and what you hate. And then they can work out in their heads what it is that they'll take you and show you. Because when you go out there, it just filters all the rubbish that you might have read in a book and you think, oh, I really need to go and see it. And you arrive there and you think, oh, what a disappointment. But if you tell these people what it is that you're interested in, believe me, they will give you the best experience you'll ever had. And that's what I would recommend on every holiday you book with Miles Morgan Travel. Make sure if you're in a city that you organize a half a day or a full day walking tour, because the guide is yours. They stop and start whatever you want. There's nobody else involved, and you can get the most out of it in a day.
I'm not going to let you get away with that one, because I know how well traveled you are and I know how many different things you've done. So I'm going to nail you down again then. What I'd really like to know is an experience, a walking tour people can do pretty much in every city, and it will be fantastic for all the reasons you just gave. But in terms of a very different experience that you just did and you went, oh my crap, that was just out of this world, what would it be?
Okay, Tuscany. Go to Tuscany and go to some of the most amazing vineyards. I went to Punta Ala, which is a beach hotel, a beach resort, a port, And one of our favorite hotels there, the Cala del Porto, I stayed there. It's about 38 bedrooms. And 20 minutes away are some of the most amazing vineyards. And they took me out for a day where we did wine tasting and food. And when I say wine tasting and food, I don't mean just go in with the crowds. I mean, it was a spectacular experience. I didn't come back completely finished off. I did enjoy the wine, but I didn't drink too much of it. And the reason I did that, Miles, was very simple. I wanted to enjoy every minute of it. The food was amazing. The wines, even the vineyards were actually designer vineyards. You walked in and they told you who designed the vineyard and why it was designed the way it was. And the whole romance of enjoying that vineyard and the wines, which were sumptuous and amazing. And as you know me, I came back with a case of wine. It's just unbelievable. You've got to do something like that, because you can go to a beach and you can relax, but you must do something within that region that says, I have been here. And yes, Tuscany, everybody knows Tuscany is known for wine, but you must organize a day where you go to some of the most spectacular vineyards, including lunch, and you can enjoy it. It's not about going there and drinking as much as possible. It's going there and enjoying the wine that is on offer, but enjoying the food that they serve you as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Hisham. I think, if I can kind of try and summarize as the travel agent here, what Kirker do and what the difference is with the Kirker experience is that, you can go on and you can book an EasyJet flight, and you can go on and you can book a hotel in Venice or Paris, wherever, and you kind of take your chance and you maybe use TripAdvisor to try and find out whether it's going to be right for you. I think from our experience with Kirker, they take that to another level, because there is no gambles with them. They use their tried and tested hotels that have delivered for Kirker over the years to their guests. So there's no gamble in terms of the hotel. They absolutely know these hotels and hoteliers, even inside out and back to front. And then when you get to the destination, it is so much about the extras that Kirker offer. And Hisham talked about a lot of them with the guide notes that they do, with the concierge experience. So, anybody watching this that really wants to make a weekend away a real experience and a real pleasure and real success, that's what Kirker do. That would be, I don't know what you want to add to that, Hisham.
No, I think you've summed it up pretty well, but I'd like to, again, mention the Miles Morgan team, because really without your guys, we just wouldn't work very well. You guys know the Miles Morgan team. You know them personally. They know you personally. You have good relationships with them. Just tell them what it is that you're after, and I'm pretty sure they will come to us, and between the two of us, we'll come up with the perfect experience for you.
Mm. Well, thank you everybody for joining. I hope you found it beneficial. I think, if you take anything from this presentation, it is almost anything is possible. And if you want to turn a weekend away into a real proper experience, going with Kirker changes it from being a weekend away to a real experience where you get the best of the best. You experience all the things that you might miss because you're flipping through a guidebook trying to make sure you do the right things. All of that chance, all of that luck's taken away because they will just zone in and make sure you have a fantastic time. So please contact your local shop if you want to do anything like that to any of the destinations Hisham talked about. But as he said, the answer, and we find this at Miles Morgan Travel so often, the answer with Kirker is 9.5 times out of 10 is yes. They will find a way. So whatever you're thinking of doing to make a weekend away special, then do get in touch with us. So Hisham, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Thank you to everyone for joining. Hope you enjoyed it. And please contact us if you want to make a really fantastic weekend away really special. Thanks very much, everybody.
Thank you, Miles. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.